All right, continuing with this Bigfoot discussion. There's been a lot of reports over the years. I've talked about this previously in a different podcast, but I think it's worth going over again. But there have been a lot of reports throughout the years of UFOs and Bigfoot. In fact, there's been documentaries about this that have been made. It's a very interesting subject. I mean, it's, what's the connection? I guess it's just anybody's guess. But, this is going back years now. In Southern California in 1968, there were two prospectors. This was out in the desert in Southern California, two prospectors that woke up in the middle of a night after hearing this loud explosion. And they were amazed to see this huge flying saucer descend into a nearby canyon. And then they followed the light to where there was light shining out from this canyon. So they followed the light to it. And when they looked down inside the canyon, they saw the saucer hovering above the ground in the canyon. And underneath, there were several Bigfoot creatures, walking in single file. All right. The only sound, there was no sound whatsoever except some loud clanking sound like a church bell. All right. So the two guys are looking down this canyon. They can't believe what they're seeing. Right. Next thing you know, they feel like a presence, and they turn around and there's two Bigfoot creatures standing right behind them. They're just standing there. So the guys get up and just they take off. There was a lot of stuff that actually happened in Pennsylvania back in 1973. Well, there was one incident where there was the three women were driving in a car, and they saw this huge rectangular UFO it was landed right aside the road on this wooded area, and they saw this ramp emerge from this craft, and the ramp opened up, and they watched as these three 7-foot tall Bigfoot creatures came running down the ramp, and then fled into the woods. That same year in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, there were 15 people that saw this huge egg-shaped, saucer-shaped craft land in a fenced-in pasture. Later, some of the witnesses that were there saw two Bigfoot creatures walking inside the pasture along the fence, and walking right toward them, right near the craft where the craft was. And one of the witnesses pointed a shotgun at the creatures, fired a couple of shots over their head, over these Bigfoot's heads. Right, and the two Bigfoot just kept walking right toward them. Didn't stop. So then he shot one directly. Right. And the creature moaned a little bit, and then both of them disappeared. But right before the Bigfoot disappeared in the woods, the craft that was sitting there vanished. And there was evidence. There was state police showed up later on. Where the craft had landed. This all happened at night. Where the craft had landed, the grass, there was a big circular mark in the pasture in the grass, and it was glowing. And then even the next day, there were some people that they found Bigfoot tracks. They found the evidence of the saucer imprint in the ground. I mean, what's going on here, right? There was all kinds of stuff that's happened throughout the years. A lot of these reports came out of the early 70s, but there's stuff that's still happening now. But one of these other reports was there was two teenage girls somewhere, I believe it was in Pennsylvania back in the 70s, that they saw some Bigfoot standing in the road, with some sort of orb in it, like holding some sort of white circular glowing orb at night. Like, what was that all about? So there seems to be some sort of connection between the extraterrestrial visitors and Bigfoot. What's going on there? I who knows? It's very strange. Are these creatures, are Bigfoot creatures being examined, or are they part of this any kind of experiments, or that the extraterrestrials are conducting, just like they do with us? Or are they abducting them like they abduct us, or is there something else going on here? There's been reports where there was the one story from the 70s, I don't know where it was, where some woman in a farmhouse, she saw a Bigfoot and she fired at this. She came out, there was a Bigfoot, there was UFOs were sighted in the area, and then there was a Bigfoot She fired at the Bigfoot, and the thing disappeared after she shot at it. It just disappeared. It sounds similar to some of the things that happened out in Skinwalker Ranch, where there was a family that was living in Skinwalker Ranch back in the 90s, had all these different strange experiences while they were living there. So is it something like that? It's like poltergeist almost, or one of the incidents that happened at Skinwalker was this weird giant wolf showed up, and they shot at it multiple times to start attacking one of the sheep that they had, and they tried to, or a goat or something, I can't remember what it was, attacking one of their farm animals, and so at first the thing seemed friendly, but then it started attacking one of their farm animals, and so they started shooting at this thing point blank, and it just didn't die, and it took off, and they followed its tracks, and the tracks just came to an end and just disappeared. It was like weird stuff like that. Where is that what was going on? I mean, who knows? I mean, is it possible that that Bigfoot, what it really is it's something that the aliens are, it's some sort of game they're playing with us, sometimes letting us see these things. I mean, anything's possible. Maybe that's why they're so elusive. It has nothing to do with the fact that they're that Bigfoot are these elusive missing link that a lot of people believe exists. Maybe the fact is, maybe what's really going on is that maybe extraterrestrials are making us believe that they exist. I don't know. I mean, again, getting back to what I talked to about earlier, about the Patterson-Gimlin footage, that thing is real. That's a real creature walking there, as far as I'm concerned. However, what's with this connection with aliens? There has been many different reports over the years. It's not, it's all over the as United States, as far as I can see. Lots of different things have happened. Where there's a UFO shows up and there's Bigfoot sightings, and sometimes at the same exact time as some of these stories that we just talked about. So what is the connection? Are they, I don't know. I mean, again, it's just such a mystery. We can only just talk about it. And as far we don't have any answers. Why are say the Bigfoot's real, and are the extraterrestrials interested in them just as much as they're interested in us? Maybe perhaps Bigfoot creatures, and I know I've said this before, maybe what they are is where human beings originally, that's the rawest version of a human being, and over the centuries, right, over millennia, we've been transformed into what we are now. Maybe we are the result of a hybridization program. Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe it all started with those beings, and there's still a handful of the originals left running around, and we are the result thus far. It's taken, tens of thousands of years to get to this point, but this is where we are now. And, way back in the day, what all of us really looked like we're Bigfoot creatures. That's what we are. Maybe that's what's going on here. I don't know. There's really no way to tell. There's really no way to know what all the answers are here. This whole thing is a giant mystery, but it's a very interesting topic to think about.